Welcome to the Millennial Monologues podcast, where we talk about anything and everything relating to the millennial lifestyle. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. My name is Alyssa.
And my name is Lexi. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here on Tuesday, 7, 8 p.m.
Just thanks.
Thanks.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Okay, so today we are going to
I'm every YouTuber ever. Smash that like button.
Anyways, today we are going to be continuing our quest in figuring out which conspiracy theories out there are legitimate, which ones are not. We are going to be doing a conspiracy theories part 2 episode, but today we're going to have a little bit more of a focus on our old cartoon TV shows and movies. So this will be definitely relatable to all those millennials out there, like we try to do every week. So
we just try to be relatable for them kids, them millennials.
Those damn millennials.
Yeah, we just gotta keep on keeping on.
It's true. So we've got a bunch of conspiracy theories / fan theories about all of those shows that we used to watch and still watch on the side.
Yeah.
Like me, big SpongeBob fan. So
I don't really watch cartoons or TV shows anymore.
Oh, I do all the time.
I don't.
Guilty.
I don't know why I don't. I just don't like. I don't feel the need. Like, I feel like it's kind of a waste of time to, like, watch, like, TV shows like that. Like, even adult television shows, like Family Guy and stuff like that. Like, they're just not that funny to me. I don't know.
Okay, Family Guy used to be really funny, but lately it hasn't been that funny.
I know.
But South Park is hilarious.
Maybe I'm just not.
And Rick and Morty is so funny.
I've heard, like, those, like, Adventure Time and, like,
Time
Bob's Burgers. I've heard of those.
Bob's Burgers is funny.
I'll watch, like, an episode, and I think it's funny, but then I never think to, like, watch it again. Like, you know?
I'm a huge TV freak. Like, I'll be watching 15 shows at once, and that's all I do in my spare time.
I watch YouTube videos a lot. Like,
TV.
YouTubers are life. Like, I watch those kids all the time. And while I'll be on my phone, too. Like, I'll be on Facebook, and then I'll be watching YouTube, like, I'll be doing all of it at once. I guess I am like your average millennial, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. Ugh, such a negative stigma. Well, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah,
the music.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like we need a creepier background.
This is a pretty creepy
because this music
background.
just got like really creepy, and I feel like there's something behind me.
You said you wanted a creepier background?
Yeah, like
this is really creepy background music.
This? No, a creepy background.
Oh,
like behind us,
like the purple. Okay.
Yeah, like this is not. I'm just kidding. Okay, so
just leave it.
The first one that I have isn't that creepy. Maybe I should. We should start off with like mild, and then we'll get to spicy. You know, like our wing scale. Like we have some mild wings. Then we got
some medium wings.
Medium wings. Then we get some jalapeno wings.
Oh snap!
Wait, those Parmesan wings need to be in there somewhere.
Parmesan is not spicy,
but it is on the wing scale. Maybe it'll start out with Parmesan, and then buffalo, and then mild, and then we'll get spicy. ASMR.
All right, so I guess we're gonna start with some Parmesan.
Yeah, we'll start off with some Parmesan wings for y'all.
Okay. All right. So which one's that gonna be?
So this one is about Winnie the Pooh. The Pooh, as in the.
This one is sad.
Yeah, it is.
I have a sad one after you, so
maybe Parmesan is keyword for sad. So if you haven't heard, if you haven't heard of this one, then that's good. If you have, then I feel bad for you, son, because I got 99 problems and Winnie the Pooh ain't one. I don't know what I was trying to do there. So the story with this Winnie the Pooh thing.
I'm sorry, Ziggy and I are just a little bit confused.
I look over at Ziggy and he's just like, what?
You're on another level today.
It's.
I am. I'm sorry.
At the comedy club, I'm used to watching jokes bomb. Not here.
I'm not doing jokes.
I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah, that's right. You're not doing jokes because otherwise. God. What is happening? I feel bad for our listeners right now. Our viewers get it.
Oh no!
Yikes! Zigzag just changed our background.
Oh, I just realized if people are listening, they have no idea.
They have no idea. They're still probably just confused because you did that weird thing that you did a minute ago, and then now we're just.
They think we're on crack, and they're like,
they know you're.
First, they're talking about wings, and then they're talking about I don't know.
No, what is this? They. Sorry. I'm sorry.
They don't want me to eat milk duds. Back to Winnie the Pooh.
Okay,
back to Winnie the Pooh.
God.
Have you ever been in a conversation like that where they're just like back to?
If you don't say it, I'm gonna say it.
Okay, so the story is, I feel like I have ADD or something. I really don't.
Did you have a Red Bull today? Some speed, maybe. God,
can we have that background again? I kind of like it.
Can you focus?
So, every character in Winnie the Pooh is a mental illness.
Okay, so they say.
So it's a theory. It's a theory, but Walt Disney himself may have written Disney's Winnie the Pooh for these reasons, to bring out and shed a light on mental illness. So, here are the characters of what
is going?
Wait, those girls aren't scary. They're pretty.
They're like punk scene kids.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
These are the characters. So Christopher Robin is the boy of the show, and he sees all these animals. So they say that he has schizophrenia, and he talks to them. So they think he has schizophrenia. Winnie the Pooh is impulsivity with obsessive fixations, like his fixation on honey and his fixation on Christopher Robin being his best friend and like friendship and love. Piglet has anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, because he has like those classic signs of being anxious all the time and being afraid.
Oh, I could have told you that.
And Owl is dyslexic. I don't really see that, but it says that he spells words wrong a lot, and I don't remember the show, but I guess he did spell words
No, he
a
does.
lot.
Like, he even misspells his own name. Like, the R is backwards and stuff like that.
The R in Owl?
I thought you said Tigger.
No, Owl.
Oh.
Who is on crack now?
I know. I'm sorry. Well, you're going too fat. No, you're kidding. I'm not.
Tigger has ADHD because he's like bouncing around all the time.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Like, once you piece these together, you realize this isn't just some made up conspiracy. Like,
well, it is made up.
I
but
feel
yeah,
so judged
I've,
right now.
I've heard it. No, I've actually heard this before.
Yeah.
So it's
this
real.
makes sense.
Rue has autism. I think that's a stretch. I think they're reaching when they say that just because he's young and he's just acting a little childish. And Rabbit has OCD. That's very prevalent that he does have OCD.
Yeah.
Like Rabbit is so like he like cleans all the time. Yeah, we're all going crazy here. I think there's just something in the air. I don't know. And then Eeyore has depressive disorder, which is depression, and it's very obvious that Eeyore's outlook on life is very negative and sad. So the conspiracy is that all of these characters are put into the show for you to realize that each person has their own mental illness going on, and while all the characters may seem normal, there is something off about each one. And so it kind of lets kids realize that, like, oh, I can relate to that, or like, oh, maybe, you know, like you can. It kind of normalizes mental illness in a way.
Yeah,
so
I like it.
But it is a conspiracy.
Some of those are more like they make more sense than others. Like Piglet for sure,
right?
You know, Rabbit for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I can see some of them.
Some of them are reaching.
With the
I think
reaching thing.
Rue's reaching. Owl is probably reaching. Winnie the Pooh is definitely reaching. I mean, being impulsive, but with like the honey thing, like that's a little bit reaching. But the schizophrenia with Christopher Robin.
Yeah,
seems right. So that's a conspiracy about Winnie the Pooh. That's a little not too creepy. It's a little mild. We'll start off with some Parmesan for you there.
Some Parmesan. Got some Parmesan.
We got
some Parmesan.
Okay.
I have one about a movie.
A movie?
A movie. This movie is called Up.
Okay.
Already a super depressing movie. I mean, I cried within the first 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I was crying a lot, and
Yeah.
that's one of those movies where you're in the theater and you know everyone there's crying, but you're all kind of like holding
You're
your
like,
tear
oh my God, I
ducts.
should not be crying at this cartoon. It hasn't even started yet. Yeah. So, this theory is from the Odyssey Online, and it basically just says that Carl, who is the main character, the old man, it says that he's dead the whole time. And that it's not he that's dead, or it's not the wife that's dead, but it's him that's dead. And so whenever like it shows him at like the funeral, he's like standing there like he's like as a ghost.
Like no one can see him.
Yeah. And then so the whole journey of the movie with him, like, you know, with the balloons and the house and everything, is him like trying to hold on to life, but it's like too late, and it's trying to make him, you know, go into the afterlife.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I got chills from that. That's weird.
And that every encounter he has every encounter he has with, you know, the dog and the kid and all that are all like some forms of symbolism.
What if the kid and the dog are dead too? Like the little Boy Scout had been killed,
like in a camping accident.
Yeah, and so they're like in between, like they're not in heaven yet, and they're not like in hell. Purgatory. They're not on earth, but like the little boy's in the midway too, and like.
Oh snap! Okay, so I'm trying to think if I left anything out. I don't think I did. So it just says that the journey is him accepting death and moving into the afterlife. The evidence being that the balloon is obviously the balloon thing is impossible, and that his interactions are all symbolic. That's just all it says. But yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that is cool. So what about the wife dying? Like, did she actually die?
No, well, I mean, maybe. I think that like I've actually seen this before. So I read one time that like all of it was like the whole like thing about them being separated was that he had died and she was still alive. And then another one is, and now I think this one is suggesting that they're both dead, but he just hasn't like moved on yet because all the memories of them are in the house, you know, and that kind of thing. But yeah, isn't that crazy? That's a good one.
That's crazy.
That's already a sad movie. I wonder if it could have gotten any sadder.
Yeah, that is really sad. These are kind of sad right now.
Yeah.
This one is about Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Okay, first of all, that show is scary. When I was a kid, that show was scary.
Yeah, I was freaked out by that show.
Yeah, I mean, it was only, you know that it was only like 2 seasons long or maybe 3 seasons.
Really?
It was a short-lived.
Wouldn't it be weird if there was a conspiracy series. Like that show never existed, and like if we Googled it, it never showed up anywhere?
The Mandela effect.
Yeah, and like all the 90s kids that remember that show,
I
like
swear
we're just going crazy. Like we're like, I know that there was like a creepy show about a dog. Like that is so something that Nickelodeon should do. Like just take off the show, make it seem like it never existed, and then everyone thinks they're going crazy because it's like it was this like creepy show, you know?
There's a lot of like weird things about like the animal shows. Like there's one about Scooby-Doo that we'll get to later too. But go ahead and tell us about the Courage the Cowardly Dog one.
Okay, so this one is about how Courage the Cowardly Dog is just a normal dog, and he is living in a normal house, a normal like neighborhood, normal people, and scary things never happen. But the show is showing through the eyes of a regular house dog. So he's like terrified of things, but they're not actually there. So anytime there's like creepy characters, they're just regular people. And anytime there's like a ghost, it's just a person. And the reason that he thinks that they're in this big deserted area is because he only knows the realms of his own house and the yard. So he doesn't know what all else is out there. So in his imagination, he's just there in the world. There's just one house, and then there's nothing else because they've never brought him out that far.
Yeah, and whenever like the scary things do happen, it's supposed to be just like strangers or visitors. Like it could be like Eustace's best friend like coming over, but the dog is afraid of him because it's a stranger. Yeah,
and it makes sense.
I totally believe that theory.
Yeah,
like that is so cool.
I believe that too, like if they were to create it that way, because my cat acts a lot like Courage the Cowardly Dog. He gets afraid of things, and it's almost as if he sees something that I don't see, or he sees me as a different, like a weird, like, he's just like, like runs away.
Yeah.
If you did that, I would be freaked out too.
Yeah, I would be afraid too. But and then it also like it makes more sense like the more you think about it, because like the two, it's like Eustace and then what is the mom's name or the wife?
Muriel.
Muriel, that's right. So Eustace and Muriel, like they're not ever afraid of the monsters. They just think everything's normal. They're just like, oh, okay. And you're thinking they're like so stupid. Like you're getting kidnapped by an alien, and you're just like, oh, you know. But
it really could be her friend, like picking her up, like taking her to the store.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, yeah, it could be her daughter even. I mean, who knows? Yeah.
And he always thinks their lives are in danger. His life's in danger, but really,
and he's
nothing
like
bad
to,
happens. No one ever dies.
Nope.
But to him, it's like we're all in danger all the time. Like there's nothing in this world besides this house, and there's aliens and like crazy
my
dogs
humans
trying
are
to
my
kill
whole
us.
life. Yeah. That's a good one. I totally believe that one.
The spookiest thing about Courage is that it is supposed to be getting rebooted, and don't get excited because
you already got me excited.
That is what it's going to look like.
That doesn't look good.
What the heck is that? Okay, I saw another thing like this. Okay, for anyone who's listening and not watching, Cartoon Network has released what is it, like an infographic of like
I think so,
a different looking
It's their
Courage.
teaser.
Ew, it said 2019. All right, well, anyways, I saw one about the Rugrats too. I saw an infographic about Rugrats, but it's like drawn really differently, and it's not going to be the same. Like, why would they do that?
I think it's because like there's new generations, so they want to show new animations, but these kids growing up, they haven't seen like those old cartoons. We should bring back the way that the old ones looked, and they don't even look any better. They look kind of worse to me. Like drawings that kids could have made.
They do look worse. Yeah, I don't even think the animation is as good.
No.
I mean, the animation is better, but the drawings don't look good.
And okay, can I just mention this? This is so random, but what happened to shows like Even Stevens and Lizzie McGuire, where they were like normal people or even teenagers, and they weren't like on a set of a show like, by golly, Mom, I forgot my homework. But like they were like actually. Yeah, like they were good shows, and they weren't like on a set or anything. They were in a real house acting, or like That's So Raven was kind of like on a set, but that was still a good show.
Oh, I loved That's So Raven.
But nowadays, like they don't have shows like that anymore. All the shows, like the acting is so bad.
They don't have shows like that.
Who is they?
God. Okay, I have one.
They don't want you to have milk duds.
So this conspiracy theory or fan theory is kind of like something like how we talked about in the subliminal messages episode. What was that, episode 5?
I don't remember.
A few episodes ago, we did a subliminal messaging episode where we talked about like hidden messages and hidden meanings and things like in our old TV shows and cartoons and movies and all that. Well, this one is kind of like that, but it's still pretty cool. So it's about the movie Brave. You've seen that movie, right? With Merida, the big orange hair. Yeah. So it talks about the witch in the movie, basically saying that there's this huge greater timeline that Pixar has. And again, we talked about this in an earlier episode where in Disney, where like all the movies are connected or somehow in the same universe.
Like Tarzan was Elsa and Anna's brother.
Yes, exactly. So now this one is saying that the witch in Brave, who gave her something that she like fed to her mom and then she turned into a bear or something like that. I don't really remember the whole premise of the movie, but basically it says many people believe that the identity of the elderly witch in Brave is Boo from Monsters, Inc.
Okay, that is reaching.
Oh, okay.
I've heard this one.
You think it is. This is pretty cool, though. So the first time I read this, too, I was like, okay. But
that's how I feel right now.
This is crazy. I'm just going to read this because this does a lot better job of explaining this than I would.
Okay.
It says, the evidence behind this being a monster that looks like Sully is carved into a wood panel behind her. Okay, so, and remember she like made a bunch of wood carvings. Like she was really like weird. She had all these like wood things that like moved and stuff. And there's one that looks like Sully behind her whenever Merida's in her little like HUD thing. Okay, so that's number one. It means that either Brave, it takes place in a weird future, or that Boo can travel back in time because the timeline for Brave is before, like, because Monsters Inc. is supposed to be like kind of in the future. So it said, don't dismiss it because in the end of Monsters Inc., Sully recreated the door and we hear Boo laugh. Therefore, one theory states that Boo could use this exact door, like her closet door, to travel to different places and different times, including the medieval Scotland. That is the scene for Brave. Dun, dun, dun.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But also, part of me thinks that Disney is notorious for putting characters from other movies in movies as cameos.
I was about to say that too. Yeah.
So it seems like it could be like a cameo of Sully.
And sometimes they do like foreshadowing too. Like in one movie, I forgot which movie it was now. Now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking about it, but there was like a poster for the movie Big Hero 6 in like a bedroom before it even was released. So I mean, yeah, it's very possible that this isn't true, but just a theory, food for thought.
There's a possibility that all of these aren't true.
That's true.
I think most of them are just like fan theories,
but the fact that all of her stuff like was hand carved, like all the stuff in her hut, like she made, you know what I mean? So it's not like she had come by it, you know, like she had made it. So where would she have gotten the inspiration for that type of creature? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is interesting. Rugrats, the rats of the rugs.
This is
what
a good
are
one. This is a good one. I like this one.
Okay, so this one about Rugrats, I feel like this one is kind of more well known. Like we all kind of know this one.
Well, Rugrats was a huge show in our time.
Yeah, Rugrats was about these little kids, and it was the life of actually very similar to Courage the Cowardly Dog. Instead of from a dog's perspective, it's just baby's perspective.
Yeah, like all of their adventures were just their imagination.
Yeah. And even as a kid, my life was kind of like that too. Like I would like see things that. Like you would see a couch, but really it was like a mountain. Like you could had this crazy imagination that now like we don't have anymore, which is really sad. So the story of this conspiracy is that all of the babies are dead or they died. That's kind of like a weird thing to say. Like babies
not all
dead.
of them, I thought, right? I thought that like one of them had like moved away and like one of them was a miscarriage.
Well, that's another one. But the one that I have written from what I remember of this conspiracy is that they're all figments of Angelica's imagination. So like these babies were either like miscarriages from her parents or I guess her friends that died. But it was saying like that Chucky, the anxious redhead, died with his mother, which explains why the father, Chaz, is such a mess.
Because the mom had died in a car accident. Yep.
Tommy was a stillborn, and his death had a lasting effect on the father, Stu, which makes Stu's obsession with toys stemming from the trauma of losing his son. So that's why Stu is always like, I think he was an inventor of toys.
He was supposed to. Well, he was a failed toy inventor.
Right.
But yeah, he used to try to like pitch his toy ideas to like the people who made Reptar and stuff, who was like the big toy in the show.
Yeah. So he's like upset about his dead baby.
Right.
And then Phil and Lil, they were ambiguous genders. Their mom Betty had an abortion. And knowing
only had one baby.
Knowing that Betty was pregnant and then not, Angelica didn't know the sex of the baby and then created twins, including both the sexes in her head. Which, can we also point out that Phil and Lil's mom was a lesbian? Yeah. Like, come on. She was a lesbian.
Like, the shirt says it all.
But she had a husband. Remember she had a husband?
Yeah, she was in the closet.
She was like the most lesbian character I can think of. And
she was.
Yeah.
She was definitely gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
Well, and her husband was such a like poon.
That's what's funny. Is like he was like the kind of pushover type that like a lesbian would marry, like just so she could, I don't know, have kids. But I think of like a strong like masculine woman. I think of like her husband being like the
just
pushover,
this frail, skinny, like
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that noise was, but that's exactly what it was. But I mean, her shirt said it all. Like, wasn't her shirt like the male like symbol, like the?
It was the female symbol.
She was
like a feminist.
A huge feminist,
yeah, she was.
She was real tough. Like there were so many episodes where like he'd be trying to like lift like their luggage or something, and she'd like push him and like grab it.
Yeah, come on, honey, I'm the one
like, that. You know, and she's like move and just picks it up like with ease.
They had a lot of female power in that show. That was kind of cool. Like Angelica was a big, but they kind of
Angelica's mom was like this huge executive.
Yeah, she was a boss lady.
She was.
But that whole Phil and Lil thing of them not knowing the sex, so she just created twins of it being both. Like that sounds like it could kind of be true. Like that's a little freaky.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that one. But
I like that one too.
You had one of Rugrats where they weren't dead, where each one was like.
Well, I think that like I mean, that pretty much sums it up. There's one where it's like Tommy is actually alive and they both like imagine them like together, and then they like Dill never really even happened, like and that they just said, hey, let's add another one to our imaginary friends. You know what I mean? And they just added Dill. So, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, though.
Yeah.
I have one about SpongeBob, though. And I'm a huge SpongeBob fan. I still watch SpongeBob to this day.
We both quote it every day.
Every day. And this one is actually, it's pretty cool because you never think about this when you're watching the show. Obviously, I don't really think about any of these when you're watching the show. But there's actually a couple about SpongeBob. But this is the only one that I think would actually make a little bit of sense.
Okay.
So, it basically just implies that all of the main characters, they're each a different sin. So the 7 like deadly sins, each of them represents one of those. So I'm going to read this, and this is also from the Odyssey Online. So it basically just says, this one, blah, blah. Okay. The theory states that SpongeBob is lust. And when you first think of lust, right, you think about like something sexual. But in reality, lust could be anything. Just having lust towards anything. And in this theory basically just says he has a lust for his like job, for his just all of it,
for life,
for his life. Yeah,
he's like really happy all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like being happy is a sin, obviously, but it's just, you know, I don't really know how to explain it, and it doesn't really explain it very well. It just says that he loves everyone around him.
I can totally get like why he would like be a character for lust, because he's like he's putting too much into other things and not like into like realistic. Like,
he's not realistic at all. Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of not like a good thing either.
Exactly. It says that Squidward is wrath because he gets angered quickly, and he's just, you know, always in a bad mood. So the opposite, right? And then it says that Sandy is pride. That makes a lot of sense. She's always talking about, you know, Texas and like how strong she is, how fast she is, you know, all those things. She's just incredibly prideful. It says Mr. Krabs is greed, obviously.
Me money.
Yeah. Super selfish, obsessed with money. Plankton is envy. So he's always jealous of the Krusty Krab. He's always jealous of Mr. Krabs. You know, he's jealous of
This is a lot like the Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
like
it is. It's a lot like
disorders and the sins.
For sure. So Plankton, has envy because of the, you know, that's obvious. And then it says that Gary is gluttony. Because, and the reason why it says this is because in the show you can always see Gary eating, number one, and then which you think Patrick would be gluttony, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But he's always eating, and then there's a whole like episode about SpongeBob forgetting to feed him, and like Gary gets like depressed, and it's like, okay, you cannot feed a cat or, you know, snail, whatever, for a day. And
he's a snail.
Anyways, and then Patrick is sloth. So he's incredibly lazy, incredibly slow, mentally and physically, just gives zero effort to anything. He even wins an award on the show for doing absolutely nothing for the longest amount of time. Remember, like the whole awards episode? So as far as fan theories go, this could be, you know, this is a pretty good one. There's another one about SpongeBob that talks about like how they're all like victims of like nuclear waste exposure, like in
I
the
saw
ocean.
that, but I thought that was reaching.
I thought that was reaching too. Like it's just, you know, because they talk, I guess. Like I don't know, and like they, you know, like the sponge like grew limbs. I don't know. So there's that one, but that one's kind of dumb. I like this one better. So
wouldn't it be so bizarre if the writers like wrote the show and they like had a conspiracy theory in mind that they just kind of went with it, like, yeah, let's make the show like about this, or like Rugrats is about this, and if the kids find out, like, I guess it'll just be a theory.
Or if no one ever figures it out, and then they leak it themselves, so that we talk about it more.
Yeah. Or we're all crazy and we're all reaching so hard.
Yeah,
for
or they're just like,
theories.
no, it's just about some fish. I don't know. I just thought it'd be interesting.
Y'all are weird. All right,
so, yeah.
Lizzie McGuire. One of my favorite shows as a preteen child, 11-year-old. And it's a show about this girl, Hilary Duff. She's amazing. She has this like cartoon character version of herself. And that character, wait, what's her name, Lizzie? The character's name was Lizzie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the character like was her.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
That's why it's called Lizzie McGuire.
Because I was thinking like her character had like a different name. But I was thinking it was Miranda, but that was her best friend, right?
To be honest, I didn't really watch the show. I only watched the movie whenever they go to wherever.
So like her character always like would say and do things that she like wanted to do. So the theory is that so Lizzie's animated alter ego is one of the voices that she heard in her head, And Miranda is actually not real. And so basically Lizzie was just kind of crazy, and she had voices in her head, and her like little cartoon character that would pop up would really just be like the little voice telling her what to say or what to do, or her thoughts like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Ethan Kraft did that, or I can't believe like blah 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 blah. And so it says this is proven by Miranda's blatant absence during the Lizzie McGuire movie. She was never in that movie, so that was kind of weird.
That's true.
Gordo was in the movie.
Yeah, Gordo was in it.
So they're acting like this is proven that Miranda was like a figment of her imagination, because Miranda wasn't even in the Lizzie McGuire movie.
When really they just didn't want to have to pay another
actress for a
yeah, they
movie.
were like, oh, I can't believe Miranda went to jail, and then I don't know, something like
whatever
that.
she did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So they're basically just saying that by the end of middle school, she had been taking her meds, and then Miranda's gone. And then Lizzie was getting better control for schizophrenia. But then when she took the trip to Rome, it backfired, and she began to believe that Paulo was actually speaking to her and hallucinating the entire international trip, that the Paulo thing happened, because that seems like such like a stretch for that to actually happen in real life, that you look exactly like a famous singer and then you meet
And then
Paulo.
you tag team a concert. Yeah.
Right. So they're saying that that's made up too, and that her schizophrenia took over, and then like she started
That's
seeing
funny
them
that
too.
you like brought this up, because my friend Emily and I like just watched that, like the singing part of that movie a couple days ago, and we were sitting there like cringing because it's so terrible. Like we were sitting there like, how did we enjoy this when we were younger? Like, yeah, you should try to watch it again. Like you should really try to watch it again.
I did that with Cheetah Girls, because that movie I used
That
to think
was
was
such
so
a good
good. You think it's such a good movie,
and then you watch it again, you're like, oh my god.
go back and watch Cheetah Girls or Lizzie McGuire movie.
I'm gonna watch Cheetah Girls.
They are so bad and so cringy.
bad. Yeah,
like
it's
even the
bad.
songs. I used to sing those. I thought they were good
I
songs.
used to grab my remote and jump on that couch and just go to town.
They are like
town
clearly
on those
like
songs.
made for TV or made for movie songs, but I thought they were like good songs that I listened to.
I had the soundtrack. I had the CDs, the CDs on my CD player.
I think I even had like CDs for like Disney Channel movies that had like 2 songs in them, like that. What is
And they
that?
would randomly throw on like other.
Xenon Z3 or something.
God.
Yeah.
What a blast from the past.
Remember that movie used to be so
Yeah.
good. It ain't.
It's
not
not
good.
None of those Disney Channel movies were good.
Some of them I can go back now and still watch. Like Even Stevens, that Even Stevens movie.
Even
like,
Stevens
that's
was a good
funny.
show.
Like,
yeah.
Lewis. What's that character? That guy's name?
Lewis.
His name is Lewis. He's in the Transformers movies. What is his
Shia
name?
LaBeouf.
Are you
Shia
talking
LaBeouf.
about Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
Gnawing on
name
your
is-
leg.
His name's Lewis in the show. But yeah, Shia LaBeouf was really funny back then too.
Okay, Shia LaBeouf is still funny because of that video.
Shia LaBeouf.
Wait, he isn't dead.
Normal Tuesday night. Shia LaBeouf.
If anyone hasn't seen that video, you should see it. Okay, I have one about the Fairly Odd Parents, and I really like this show. So, well, it went pretty downhill after they had the Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah.
Hot juice, rubber goose, plain moose, chocolate juice, dry things, birthday cake, large flakes, chocolate shake. Okay, go.
Okay, so anyway, this one is I can't stand you. This one
Can
basically
you sit me?
just says, God, I'm just gonna read it because you're annoying. I hate you. As far as ruining childhood shows goes, this one's pretty tame. It says, like, it's not that bad.
So this is mild still.
Yeah, this is still pretty mild, but it basically just says that Timmy's godparents are actually like symbolic forms of antidepressant pills that Timmy is taking.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so it basically just says that they're only around when he needs them. Right, like it's not like they, are just constantly at his side. Like he's at school and he's getting bullied, and then they like pop up as like an eraser and a pencil. You know what I mean?
Oh,
or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Vicky comes over and starts kicking his butt, and then I'm gonna kick your butt. And
no one's gonna kick my butt.
Whenever Vicky's over there bullying him, they like pop up as like the couch cushions. Like you know what I mean? They just are there when he needs them.
Yeah.
So it says that they arrived when his problems began, and then once he got older, whenever he turned 18, he was freed from babysitting, he was freed from his parents, he didn't need them anymore, so they went away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It says
Didn't
that
they
there
say
are,
that in the show though, that like only like sad orphan kids need fairy godparents, and that at like the end they left because he didn't need them anymore?
Yeah.
So that's like kind of proving that theory too.
Exactly.
That he was like leaving.
Exactly. So, and then it also says that there are like side effects, or, you know, things like go awry when he abuses their power, or he takes too many of them. Things go not as planned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that all the wishes and stuff that happen are just his imagination / hallucinating from maybe taking too many, or just, you know, side effects from the pills. That's
Makes
what it says.
sense.
So that's that one.
Makes sense.
I don't really know if I believe that one, TBH, but I like it still.
When I think of the Fairly Odd Parents, the only thing that I can really like remember that just scarred me for life was that the baby they had was purple, and that Mexican guy was purple.
Yes, Juandísimo.
Juandísimo in his chest.
Oh my God, you're so right. That's
Like,
actually another conspiracy theory that I read about.
Their
and I
baby
can't
is
believe
Juandísimo's and Wanda's.
Yeah, Wanda had an affair. Yeah.
Wait. But now I'm remembering it. Cosmo was the one that was pregnant.
Cosmo had an affair.
Dun, dun, dun.
What? Yeah, because he was the one that was
That's
pregnant.
right,
And that
'cause
was
the
just
man is pregnant.
That-
not the woman in fairy world.
yeah, that was all just kind of weird.
Ah, okay. Well, that debunks that theory then.
Yeah, remember whenever they
That's
made like
funny.
they made a TV show version of Fairly Odd Parents with like people in it on Nick one time.
With starring Drake Bell. Yeah,
it was like
terrible.
it was cringy.
It was so bad. Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah, was Drake Timmy?
Yeah.
You know he thought
Drake
that
was
was like
Timmy.
his big break. Like he thought like, oh man, this is gonna be so big.
No, Drake and
I'm
Josh was
Timmy
before
Turner.
that, and
No,
that was
I don't
better.
mean like his big break. I mean like his break out of like, because Drake and Josh was like over, and he had no
Was it
other
over?
acting jobs.
I thought it was during. It may have been over.
No,
Who
he had like
knows?
no more acting jobs, and then all of a sudden he was Timmy Turner, and he thought he was gonna start getting big again, and he wasn't, and he's kind of nothing now.
I know. I don't really remember that movie too well. I know I watched it, but
I remember thinking it was so bad.
I loved like the crossover ones where they did like the Jimmy Neutron and Timmy Turner like movies
Yeah,
where they crossed over.
yeah,
I liked
those were
that.
cool.
I liked
And
those.
Eliza Thornberry and the Rugrats. Do you remember that?
Yes, Rugrats Gone Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I love the
Sharshing.
Wild Thornberries. That's a good movie.
I love the dad with his mustache. Good times.
The dad was so freaking funny. Eliza.
He talked like that?
Yeah, he talked
I
like
just remember
that.
him saying Smashing.
Smash it.
He was always in a good mood.
Yeah, he did sound like
Do you have
that.
another one or what?
Yeah, Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I almost brought this one up earlier.
Yeah, this is a good one. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I didn't think it was that good. So, like, if you guys know more info about this than me, let me know.
Ziggy?
So, it's that Ed, Ed and Eddie, all the characters are in purgatory. Again, dead children. I don't know what it is about
Dead
people
children?
and liking dead kids.
Well, Ziggy, I'm
Um,
sure has more info about why people think this, right?
So the main argument for this is that they never interact with anyone outside of their street.
Yep.
That's it.
And the cul-de-sac is like purgatory.
Yes, the cul-de-sac is their purgatory. And there are certain animatics, I believe, where you see like what is supposed to be outside of the cul-de-sac and it's just white space.
Yeah.
And realistically, they just did that to save money,
Right.
but
Or did they?
that is the theory, is that they are all dead, and each of the kids, like going back to the 7 deadly sins thing, each of the kids has their own like worldly sin that is pulling them down from heaven, and that's why they are stuck in purgatory. None of them are irreconcilably evil,
Right.
but they're all flawed, and so that's why they're in purgatory rather than hell or heaven.
And also, snowballing off that, all of them are yellow, but then whenever they're like walking around and there are people in the background, they're like normal skin tone.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like Ed, and Eddie, all three of them, their skin tone is completely yellow.
So what does plank mean? Like
It's just a good
What?
joke.
Yeah.
Why do you gotta ruin everything?
Yeah.
like what?
Now you're diving. Now you're reaching. Now you're diving too deep. Okay.
Now I'm thinking
That's
for more.
what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one about the sweet life of Zach and Cody.
It's this week.
This one I think is completely ridiculous.
Okay.
Okay. This is like, and this is because I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and this has to. It thinks. Okay. I'm just gonna read it. It says this theory suggests that London Tipton is a part of the wizarding world. Okay. It says in the episode The Silent Treatment, apparently that's an episode of Zack and Cody, it says London says Voldemort's name after Bailey says he who shall not be named, and she goes Voldemort, I guess, or something, and then afterwards London gasps like in fear, and then everyone on Tumblr just went off. Like, why would anybody like know about the movies in that show is like one argument, I guess. And then it just goes on to
Disney's
say,
trying to be hip with the kids.
yeah, right. Then it goes on to say that like it means that London is not your typical dumb rich girl, but she's playing a part as her parents are busy with the ministry and they don't really understand like the Muggle world. So she hasn't like developed her powers yet, or doesn't even have powers maybe. And so she's just trying to like fit in. So they like sent her away because her parents are never in the show. So it talks about like her parents are actually in the wizard ministry and that she is just there.
At a hotel in Boston?
Yes. This one I
That's
think is
reaching.
reaching, but apparently people believe this because
All because
it's
she
on
said
here,
Voldemort
so.
in one episode.
Yeah. And like was like legitimate like fearful.
But no
of
one was
the
no one
word
else was
or the name.
fearful?
No. Everyone was like, "Oh yeah, whatever."
Yeah, it seems like that was just a Disney joke that they're just trying to put in, being relatable to Harry
Yeah,
Potter and
probably.
reaching. Did you have
Probably.
one about Scooby-Doo?
Well, I have a couple.
Yeah,
Oh,
tell
go
us.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Scooby-Doo one is one that I really like. The argument is that the Scooby Gang, in their world, there is a worldwide economic collapse. Like the bottom of every market falls out and money has almost no value anymore.
Oh God.
And the argument for this is that almost every person that they encounter that is a criminal is a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or has skills in like movie magic or animatronics or something that in our world is like highly sought after, very marketable labor. But if money means nothing, that's why they're all turning to like real estate fraud and thievery.
I was about to say, because a lot of the
Yeah.
crimes that they commit are like stealing money. And people in those professions, you'd think that they wouldn't need to steal money. You'd
Yes.
think that they'd get paid enough. Yeah.
and
that makes
That
sense.
so makes sense.
That makes sense.
Someone,
I like it.
Someone did like a numbers breakdown of this, and in like the very first, the original Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo, it's something like 87% of all the villains would be in our world like millionaires. So it makes no sense
For them
unless
to be,
there's an
like,
economic
stealing
collapse.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Or in their world, all rich
Interesting.
people are just monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they have the money to buy those costumes and pretend
like-
for fun.
But then also, like, why would a doctor spend his hard-earned, like, time, like, you know, they're so busy. He would spend all of his time, like, being in this scary house, like, trying to be a ghost.
Like being a robot, pretending to
A
be
hobby.
a robot in a theme park that is abandoned.
Right, yeah. There's no use for a
just
lawyer
a hobby,
to be
just
doing
some
that.
creeps, creeps trying to have fun. And creeps need fun too.
Johnny the lawyer.
Do you have another one?
No, I don't. I'm all
Okay.
out.
I have, I mean, if you want, we can go over the,
I think he has.
Yeah,
Oh, do you have another one? Go
I
ahead.
have a quick one, and then I
had
have like
one.
a really sad one.
Yeah,
So,
I want to hear
Oh,
Ziggy's
the
because he had
sad
good
one.
ones.
So the quick one that I really like is, so in Pinky and the Brain,
That show freaked me out.
Pinky is the genius
yes,
and not the brain.
I've heard that one.
Yes. I don't
So why do people think that?
So there are two. So the song is one is a genius, the other's insane. It never says which one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so they
Oh.
build in this joke where, because frequently the brain will give his large plan
And it fails.
say, like, well, what do you think of that, Pinky? And then Pinky will tell him exactly how it's going to fail. and then it fails in exactly that manner. And there are also parts of the episodes where Pinky solves like super complex math problems. Like I think at one point they go to NASA and he solves a rocket equation just in the background of the episode while Brain is like trying to do whatever like world domination bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's just, that to me is something that I think it's true, because that is like
I think
the
that's
best joke ever.
Yeah,
I
because
love
it's
that
funny too. Yeah, like that's hilarious that one is a genius, the other is insane, and it could be insane like angrily insane because he's trying to take over the world.
Yeah,
you
like
know,
Hitler.
Right. Like Hitler. Okay, so what is the sad one?
So have you guys ever seen a movie called My Neighbor Totoro?
No.
Okay, so it is a Japanese kids movie.
Oh yes, I've seen that.
So the theory goes that Hayao Miyazaki, who's the director of the movie, he based the movie on the mysterious death of 2 young girls in Japan.
Oh.
And that the movie is actually the story of these 2 girls going into the afterlife after being murdered.
Aww.
I got chills. That's really creepy, and I believe that.
I like it though,
because the Japs are like that. They like.
Alrighty then.
Okay.
Well.
Right.
But yeah, and the main thing is there are like maps or hints in the story that they are moving into this new house in this one particular neighborhood, and that is the neighborhood where this child disappearance happened.
Aww.
But also, like there's a famous character in the movie called the Cat Bus, and on the Cat Bus, the destination marker on the Cat Bus begins as the destination for the bus stop where these kids disappeared from, and then later on, when it shows up again, it says either the afterlife or hell or heaven, or the Japanese equivalent of that. So like when they're getting on, it's the bus stop. When they're getting off, it's the afterlife.
Whoa! I just got chills all over my entire body. Wow. That's sad and
so
incredible at
believable.
the same time.
Has he ever confirmed that, the writer?
No, he doesn't talk about his movies much.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he known for not talking about them?
He's known for not talking about some movies. Some of the movies that he's made, like Howl's Moving Castle, he's been very vocal about, because that is like a very explicitly political movie, and it was like anti-Iraq war while that was happening. So he was giving interviews left and right saying America should not be in Iraq.
Yeah.
But some of his other movies, he's very reserved.
He probably wants it open up for interpretation, for you to watch it and put it to what you think it's.
And it's also quite possible that that while it is the case that this is what this movie is about, it's only for that reason, because other animators snuck those details into the script and into the animation.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
I
I like it.
Creepy. That's a good one to end on.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right. Well, thank you, Ziggy. That was good.
Yeah.
So that's going to wrap it up for conspiracy theories for us. If in case you didn't catch the last episode, we talked about just general conspiracy theories. This one was a little bit more focused on television, cartoons, and movies. But make sure to watch our last episode to hear about some more.
If you want more conspiracies.
Yes.
Next episode, we're going to be talking about missing persons cases.
Unsolved mysteries.
Unsolved mysteries, people that have gone missing, that have just not returned. They've gone out of thin air. We have no proof of them. Even
with special guest Robert Stack.
Yikes.
Who is that?
I'll pull it up.
Okay, I don't even know who that is.
So
It's a good joke when you see it.
we are going to
I just don't get your jokes.
be talking about those unsolved mysteries of either deaths or kidnappings. I know of one that I really want to talk about where like they found the body but they have no idea how it got there, who did it, and it's still just completely unsolved. And it was like many years ago.
One unsolved one.
Unsolved mysteries.
I still don't know who that is.
That was like the shit when I was a kid. It was a show.
I was
about
not
these cases.
born when I was a kid.
It's a show.
I was not born when I was a
Yikes.
kid. When you were a kid.
That was an
How
old
old do you
person
think I am?
joke. Anyways, so that's what we're going to be talking about next time. It's going to be super interesting and super developed. We're going to do lots of research about each of these cases that we find, and hopefully it's interesting to you guys. So.
One of my favorite cases that I just want to talk on that I'll give more info on is the Casey Anthony case.
Don't get me started.
And then also
don't get me started. That's going to turn into a rant session.
And Joan Benet Ramsey is probably my most interesting story.
The government killed that child.
Anyways, God, those are two really good ones.
So it's kind of like they're not really conspiracies, but it's more of just talking about the story, how it's unsolved, and the evidence, and then you guys coming up with your own theories and things like that. So
cool. Two very good ones. Two good ones. Well, catch us on your own time anytime at themillennialmonologues.com or the On Air Media website, YouTube, or Facebook. Also, we go live every single Tuesday from 7 to 8 on Facebook and YouTube. So, thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.